welcome to the Let's Get Real podcast. My name is Ned.
And Lisa.
Thanks for joining us once again. Today's topic is about...
patience and kindness.
Absolutely.
Kindness and patience.
I was saying to Lisa yesterday, I think I'm the Thomas Edison of patience
Oh, jeez.
and kindness. Edison had, I don't know how many failed attempts at making a light bulb.
Was it 100 and something?
Well, no, I googled it today and it was all over the map. So who knows what the real count is.
Anyway, you win.
But I'm the Edison of patience and kindness. I've had a lot of failed attempts. I'm not proud to say that, but I've certainly got a lot better at it.
You're not alone in that.
I don't think I'm alone in that. So I wanted to start out with a story about when I used to work in the factory. And it relates to patience and kindness. So I was working on the press one day and the operator kept turning it up, and I'm like, I could not keep up, nor did I want to keep up. I wasn't interested in making big numbers for the company. So I kept protesting and telling the operator, turn it down. He wouldn't turn the press down. So I was getting so mad that I was seriously consider punching out the operator, or punching him in the throat at least. And so I got to a point where my blood was boiling, and I decided that I was going to take a walk. So
Good idea.
I went to the bathroom and just sat in the bathroom for a few minutes and cooled off. And while I was cooling off, I suddenly had this vision and it was like this whole chart popped in front of my mind, and it was about choice. In that moment, I had a choice. I had a choice to make. Was I going to go back and throttle my operator, or was I going to go back and try to be a team player? But the chart that came to mind in that situation was that I was in the center, and I was in the center with this choice. And then if I went to the positive side of the choice, making a positive choice, it seemed like the harder thing to do. So it was like an uphill battle. But once I got to the top of that choice, all the work was at the beginning. And then the other side, to come back down to the neutral position again, was easy. It was a downhill slide. And then the other side of the chart was the negative choice. If I hadn't made a negative choice and went out and punched the operator, it was easy. It would have been easy in that moment. I was really furious, and I felt like that was my only solution. However, that easy choice was easy to make, but on the other side of that would be a lot of work coming back uphill to get into a neutral space again. So I've thought about that chart many times in my life, and how sometimes I need to make the right choice, and the right choice for me was to be loving and kind. So I went back out to the press, and I said to the operator, I said, look, I'm really sorry. I have not been a team player today. I'm gonna try my best to keep up, and I'm sorry for being such a jerk. Well, then the next thing I knew, he was piling 3/4 of the boxes for me, and my job got twice as easy. And we were going really fast, but my job was easy at that point. And all that hard work I did to come back out to the press and say, look, I'm sorry, and I apologize. It wasn't easy. It was like making that positive choice. It took a little bit of work. And sometimes being patient and kind, it feels like a hard thing to do. Especially if somebody's yelling at you or giving you a hard time.
There has to be that willingness to make a different choice, to grow, right?
And I've been hearing a lot of stories about people who have been noticing escalating impatience in the community.
Yes, actually, it was one of our friends, Peggy, who actually suggested that we talk about this, because she's been noticing just so much anger everywhere. And I've seen a lot of it too. I guess it depends on what you're doing or where you are sometimes. But yeah, there's been a lot of complaining, a lot of negative feedback, I guess.
That's right. Yeah, and so I wanted to tell that story about choice and how making that loving, positive choice is not always easy. But the thing about it is, on the other side of it, there's so much reward. And I think it's something that we not only need to have with each other, but we also need to give ourselves love and kindness, love and patience. And
it can change the way that our bodies even operate, right? It's the difference between coming from your mind, letting your mind take control, or coming from your heart.
And you notice, like, right away, if I'm being impatient, my body's constricted.
Yes.
I'm stressed. And then when I'm being impatient with you, what happens in your body?
I close it right down.
Yeah.
It's a natural response, right? Some of that is me still dropping or healing stuff from the past, right? But it's not to go back into it. Like, we're consciously choosing different things all the time, right? To come out of that instead of go back into that.
Yeah, and so, like, when I'm not being patient and kind with you, which isn't a lot, right?
No.
Right now.
No, it's really not.
Not a lot, right?
No, only if you're tired or you need to eat or...
Okay, but I'm still a good guy, right?
You'll always be a good guy.
Am I still your guy?
You'll always be my guy. I'm still your girl, right?
You'll always be my girl.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, as soon as I'm not patient and tolerant and kind, I notice my body constricts. I'm taking on stress, and then it transfers to you. However, we have a choice in that moment, and again, this factor of choice, or rather the topic of choice, we have a choice in that moment. When we're around somebody and they feel tense, or they're not being kind, I think the perfect thing to insert in that moment is just compassion.
Yeah. You're the one that taught me, actually, that we need to love people like they need to be loved instead of like we need to be loved, right? And that will a lot of times get you through that, whatever you're feeling, right?
Yeah, and so I would urge people, and I've done this many times, instead of me saying, like in my relationship, instead of me, if you're upset, instead of me saying, what's your problem, mirroring you, taking on your stress, I say, how can I help you? And I think that's a more loving, positive
because
choice to make.
Yeah. Clearly, whoever is upset is already not having an easy time of things, right?
That's right.
That can make such a difference, and it's such a contribution to the relationship, or to even to the world. Like, I know that sounds really big to put it that way, but it is a contribution to raising consciousness, right?
Absolutely. And so I think the last point I would like to make and leave people with is that the patience we give ourselves, and I've already mentioned this already, but the patience and kindness we give to ourselves helps us become more tolerant and patient with others. If you notice that you're encountering a lot of impatient or unkind people in your days, it's just let it be a trigger. Let it be a trigger to have you be more patient and kind with yourself. Go home, be patient and kind with your kids, your partner, your parents, whoever's in your life. Just let that be a trigger to be kinder to them.
There's so many ways we can do that too. The power of a hug is amazing. Instead of reacting, you can respond. And a hug is a good way to do that.
Yeah.
And I also do this thing where if I see somebody's really struggling, I see them as a child, because it's their little child that's sort of acting out, right? But really, like I can look at you, pretend you're this high, and nothing but compassion comes out of me instead.
Another way to bring kindness is to praise people.
Oh yeah.
And I've talked about this many times. When I was with the Ashaya monks, the teachings that they had were based in praise, gratitude, love, and that's a natural progression. If I say, Lisa, I really love your shirt.
Thank you.
Thank you. Automatic. So I praised you. Gratitude came back, and then a natural state is that we feel
Connection.
love. We connect. Yeah. So that's another way to offer kindness, is to praise people. Look for something that you would admire in them, and if it's just you and you're feeling low, praise yourself. Applaud yourself for all the good things that you've done, or all the accomplishments that you've made throughout your life.
Yeah, our friend Paul teaches about that actually, and I think it's rarely used, but we do that with ourselves. Use that tool, but the little person inside you wants to know that, wants to hear that. That's why we're walking around wounded, right? We need to give ourselves what we feel we didn't get.
Yeah.
I also cannot leave out be kind to animals, be compassionate. There's always a place in my heart for that anyway. A lot of times people are, especially with the pandemic animals, they feel like they don't have time and patience, but it's a living being too. And a lot of times they're just picking up on your energy. So if you notice your animal is acting up or whatever, acting out, take a look at your own energy. But that again, that goes for the rest of your household, everybody you interact with.
Well, everybody, thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed this episode.
I did.
I certainly did too. Have a wonderful day. Take care.
Bye.